on channelafrica.co.za. Weekdays from 9 till 12 p.m. Central African Time.
11 minutes into 11 a.m. in Central African Time. An Afghan woman-led delegation of activists, lawyers, educators and researchers has been in South Africa meeting with women's rights organizations, civil society, legal experts and young people. The delegation has been sharing experiences and drawing lessons from South Africa's history of resistance to apartheid, while also highlighting the restrictions facing women and girls in Afghanistan, and the campaign to have gender apartheid recognized as a crime against humanity, most importantly, as we understand it. So as their visit concludes today, as I understand it, let's have the conversation. Dr. Shakar Jafari, I beg your pardon, is joining me on the line, as well as Afghan activist Horia Mossadegh, to talk to us about what they have learned from South Africa and how these connections have strengthened the global campaign for the right to Afghan women and girls. Welcome to the both of you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Jafari.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Dr. Jafari, I'd like to start with you. What brought this delegation to South Africa at this particular moment?
What brought Afghan delegation to South Africa was the unique history of South Africa standing up against apartheid. And no country in the world with the history that South Africa has can stand in the leadership position well enough to support Afghanistan women and girls in the current condition, which are under suppression and gender apartheid of Taliban. So we came to South Africa to ask for support, to ask for solidarity, and also the leadership of South Africa government in recognizing the gender apartheid in Afghanistan by international community.
Absolutely. Okay. Horia, and for you, what did you hope to learn from South Africa's history of resistance and transformation in your quest to assist Afghan women?
Thank you so much. I think, to be honest, I was absolutely overwhelmed, and it was true also for many other members of the delegate, to looking into the South Africa history. This is my second time in South Africa, and both times I visited the Constitutional Hill, and I went to different places, including the Women Prison, Mandela Foundation, among others. So what I can really say is that the South African women are teaching us that gender justice cannot be postponed until or after the political liberation. Women are not merely, like in South Africa, women were not merely support of gender, of anti-apartheid, but at the same time, they were strategists, they were organizers, they were leaders, they were architects, and they were fighting for a very democratic future and freedom. And women in South Africa, they went through so much, and they did generational struggle to fight apartheid. And for us, looking into that struggle, learning from their experiences, learning the history, and understanding that despite it is not an easy way, despite there is so much, so many hurdles, obstacles, adversaries, but still we should not give up, and we should continue with our fight. So this is what I have learned from being in South Africa and looking especially into your history and also the history of women's struggle against the apartheid.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Jafari, perhaps you can define for us, especially at this time, for someone who may not fully understand this term gender apartheid, what does it mean? I think especially in the context of looking at life and the everyday life that is of Afghan women and girls.
To better understand, I think I need to paint a picture of how it looks like. In Afghanistan currently, girls cannot go to school beyond year 7 when they are around 12, 13 years old. The women are not allowed to go to work. Universities are closed on them. They can't even go to the clinic when they are ill without a male guardian and with the dress code that Taliban imposing to put burqa on. We even had recent cases that the pregnant woman that had complication and the baby could not be delivered at home went to the hospital, and just because she was not wearing burqa, she was in full hijab, but not wearing burqa, just different type of hijab, she was returned back to go home. And on the way of trying to find another hospital, she passed away. You can see now with this picture what gender apartheid means. We have a lot of videos in Afghanistan which the women are breadwinner of the family. They are not allowed to go to work. So you can imagine how every girl and woman are imprisoned in their own home, and they are risking their life because of lack of access to the clinic. The future generation will suffer from lack of doctors, nurses, midwives. When schools are closed, when universities are closed, we will face soon a shortage of all the expertise in these fields.
Absolutely. Such important advocacy work that you're doing at this time. I'd like to get an understanding, Horia, from you, in terms of how women are surviving this. How are women and girls continuing to resist and advocate for their rights despite these daily restrictions?
Yeah, thank you. Let me also put it in the other term that the reason that we as Afghan women, we use the term gender apartheid is also because the entire institution is, against the woman. Like it is deliberate system is designed to exclude women and girls from the public life and enforce their permanent subordination, which also, if you see, like since Taliban returned to power, they issued over 200 edicts and decrees, and from that, over 130 of those decrees are against women and girls, from not being able to go to school after year 6, university, to work, gyms, parks. They cannot travel without a male accompany. And as Dr. already mentioned, like even access to health has become such a big issue that now maternal mortality rate in Afghanistan has significantly increased. Suicide rates has increased significantly as well among women. So, I think, like the reason that we continue to fight is, first of all, it is, we cannot afford not to fight. This is, let me put it as simple as that, because the moment we stop, it means like we are accepting those system of gender apartheid. The moment we don't do anything, it means like we are accepting that position of subordination. We accept that to being wiped out from the face of the society. So for that reason, like we have like thousands of women who have protested in Afghanistan throughout the 5 years that we see. Most recently in Herat province, so many men and women became on the streets to fight against enforced burqa on young girls who were trying to, like also they were covered head to toe, but Taliban were beating and also detaining those women while they are not wearing burqa. So that was like one of the things that which resulted in injuries and killing of over a dozen peaceful protesters, and hundreds of those protesters were also arrested and they were put in jail without any due process. So like it is not easy, I would say, like, you know, it is not easy, especially when Taliban are progressively denying women access to all the services, spaces, especially public spaces, and women are being removed, you know, not just from the school, but from the workplace, and from the visibility, from decision making, from police participation. So then by itself, it has a lot of effect, and so many women and men, they are resisting against that. And one of those types of resistance is, for example, Dr. Jafari, that is with us in this call, like she runs an underground school, and she has she's teaching like thousands of girls across Afghanistan through her online school. Like we provide protection, we provide healthcare, and you know, skill building, online universities, and like women rights activists and men human rights defenders as well. Like we all have joined hand in hand to do whatever we can within our power. But then we are not able to really dismantle this system of gender apartheid that is stopping women to come and realize their full potential and to, you know, contribute back to the society, back to the family.
Right. Dr. Shakardokh Jafari as well as Horia Mossadegh are doing such important advocacy work. They were, of course, leading a women's delegation from Afghanistan, which consists of activists, of lawyers, of educators, as well as researchers, to come down to South Africa to meet with women's rights organization as well as civil society organizations to have a deliberation on what can be done to assist women in Afghanistan. I cannot tell you, over the last 8 years, I've had conversations with several women who have asked me, how can we seek refuge on the African continent? That's how terrible the situation is. And these are educated women who are, you know, who are in very high positions, but are not able to exercise the work that they're doing. And they would be willing to do anything, even come down to the continent and teach Arabic, for example. So this situation is ongoing, and it is wonderful to see that some activism work and advocacy work, as it were, is being done to tackle some of the issues and to strengthen this global campaign for the rights of Afghan women and girls. We're 23 minutes into 11. Let's take a break.
Drivers, winter fatigue creeps in faster than you think. That heater may keep you warm, but it can also make you drowsy. Crack a window. Take your rest breaks seriously. Stay fresh, stay focused, because when you're behind the wheel of a heavy vehicle, fatigue doesn't just risk your life, it risks everyone's. So stay alert, stay visible, and stay safe. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Transport.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet, channel 628.
We're 24 minutes into 11 a.m., still in conversation with Dr. Shakardokh Jafari as well as Horia Mossadegh, who is an Afghan activist. They have wrapped up a campaign trail that they've been on here in South Africa, looking at a delegation that was here in South Africa to basically campaign for women's rights in Afghanistan with the help of South Africa's civil society and other women's organizations that are able to assist in this regard. Dr. Jafari, I'd like to get a sense of this particular trip, you know, and the outcomes there of South Africa's anti-apartheid struggle was strengthened by international solidarity. I think that's worth noting in this context and your visit to the continent. What kind of solidarity do Afghan women actually need from the international community today?
I think Afghan women need solidarity at different levels from each individual that, for example, women, girls at schools start being the voice of our girls in Afghanistan and telling the world about their situation. Going one level up, the schools and universities can show solidarity by offering scholarships and places for our girls. We try to educate our girls through underground secret schools, online schools, and only in my organization, I am chairperson of the educational charity called Education Bridge for Afghanistan. We have 48,000 students fighting in this battlefield of ignorance. So if schools and universities offer scholarships to them, they could come over and study freely. That would show the forms of solidarity. And again, going one level higher, bigger organizations, government organizations can show the solidarity in terms of supporting all the rules and regulations that support Afghan women. And we are expecting South Africa government to lead the support in international community as well.
All right. And for you, perhaps, Horia, let's look at, just your thoughts around, I mean, as you leave South Africa, what is the one message or perhaps a commitment at this time that you would like to take with you from the conversations and the deliberations that you engaged in whilst in South Africa?
So I was muted. I think the message that I would carry to the people of South Africa is that you did fight against the apartheid and you understand where we are coming from. Mm-hmm. And you know how exclusion and systematically being wiped from the face of the society and being brought back to a level of subordination, what does it mean? So stand with us, support in our fight. Let us walk with you and to learn from you, but at the same time, we need your support. And I just want to also say that because South Africa has been a champion of human rights for standing for the rights of Palestinians in the ICJ case, which was like one of the landmark attempts or engagement that South Africa had internationally. So we really look at you as leaders of human rights, equality, and human dignity. So my message is that the women in Afghanistan are facing gender apartheid, and it is happening, and it's happening now under our eyes. Our women and girls are being subjected to all forms of unimaginable cruelty, including being wiped out from the face of the society by a group called the Taliban. And that group is being supported by many Western countries, including the United States, and also with many other, regional powers in the region. So we look at you and we want you to stand with us. You know where we are coming from. You know our pain, and we have a shared pain. So help us to fight this unjust war. Help us to get to a situation where you did decades ago, and we look at you as our leaders.
This is wonderful work that you're both doing. Thank you very much for advocating for the rights of women in Afghanistan and seeing South Africa as a possible pillar of support on this journey. I think there's no better time to advocate for women and girls than right now. We are entering a new dispensation in the world, and we've got to take women and girls with us everywhere in the world. Thank you very much, Dr. Jafari, as well as Horia Musaddiq, joining me on the line. Of course, they were leading a delegation from Afghanistan that came to South Africa to engage meaningfully with women's rights organizations, with civil society legal experts, as well as young people, to assist in the gender apartheid as we witness it in Afghanistan. 11:30 is the time right now. Fikile Lungwadi standing by with the latest sports.